The Oceanic Hype Train took a hit from that particular game. 4 kills so early on in that match.
Look, after a game like that, my koalas are only somewhat raised, to be honest with you, Atlas. It wasn't ideal, but the Turkish side, they honestly looked completely reinvigorated.
Yeah, they most certainly did. This is what we were expecting out of Dark Passage. We heard this from our casting team over and over again. The fact that we had expectations for Dark Passage, and finally we've seen it, but it might be too late.
It may well be too late. Of course, they've still got a chance to make it.
Yeah, but we do have an update, and we'll see how the Hype Train's doing. I'm a little bit worried, Rusty.
Yeah, I'm not sure what this will say. We do have a status update to come in eventually. It'll tell us how our Hype Train is performing.
They are really keeping us on our toes. Somewhere. Oh my goodness, we're in trouble. We're not exactly derailed just yet, but if you could imagine it, this train is teetering.
Yeah, we're going around a bend. It's a snowy trail. You know, it could at any moment
slippery
derail.
when wet. Something like that. Is it a hype bus now? I don't know what's going on, but I'm very frightened for our Oceanic Hype Train. It is going to be a problem, but look, we'll see whether the Chiefs can get it back on form. Of course, they are in the final, which is happening tomorrow, but this best-of-5 series can be between either the Bangkok Titans or Dark Passage, depending on how this next match plays out. We are guaranteed not to have any tiebreakers, but if Bangkok Titans win, then they take the head-to-head against Dark Passage, and they're going to be through to the final. Whereas Detonation Focus Me, they're out, but if they win this game, that is all about Dark Passage, and they're going to be through to represent their region in their hometown.
Yeah, a lot of importance behind this next game, but of course, there's a reason that this is happening at all.
Yeah.
It's because Dark Passage almost derailed our Hype Train. They took one of the most convincing victories I've seen.
Yeah, they most certainly did, and they did so largely to do with this draft. It's so aggressive, and the fact that Elwin got his fizz, I'm so glad that we at least got to see it this tournament, because, man, he is so impressive on that champion. Used to play at Teleport Smite, but looks just as good with the Ignite.
Yeah, so there's a very important thing to note about this Dark Passage team comp. But it's not just the skin synergy that they seem to have with the colors that they've got going on. It's the fact that Fizz is a skill matchup in the top lane. He wants to outplay everybody, wants to assassinate you. Lee Sin in the jungle, well, you know, does want to do the exact same thing. Spawns that in the cast is an aggressive playmaking version of a Gragas. Mid lane Ahri, the exact same. Vayne, the exact same. They were playing champions that wanted to win in a 1 versus 1 scenario, outplay you and style on you. That is exactly what they did. And not only that, Atlas, it's their best champions.
Yeah, this is right. And Zeitnot on his Vayne, I mean, we mentioned that as well. Just ridiculous to watch from this Dark Passage lineup. And we do have some clips from the game. We'll go through them. I know it's going to be difficult for us and our Oceanic brethren, but we most certainly have to do it. And let's just watch Elwin's style on the Chiefs lineup.
This is the first big mistake because Elwin gets way too many kills from this. We'll roll this one out, and Chiefs, over-aggressive. They had no reason to be top lane right now. Ejim tries to put some damage down onto Elwin, keep him out of position, but Rydell was already here with Crystal. They'd already made their way here. Radier tries his best to outplay Crystal, but the Tempest is just going to be there to pick him up. And again, Dark Passage, they find kill after kill here. 3 total, I think it might be 2 total for the Fizz. He had no right getting this many kills, but the reason that he got these kills is a big mistake from the Chiefs lineup. Looking to dive top after they'd already pushed down bottom. They got that bottom turret. They didn't need to go back top. They had no reason to.
Yeah, a little bit of over-aggression there from the Chiefs in their positioning, and they were punished for that the entire game. Yeah. Everything just steamrolled after that. That Trinity Force was so fast for Elwind. No one could enter that lane against the Fizz.
Oh, no, definitely not. It's why we saw Radier and Tristana attempting to deal with that lane. And I say attempting, take that with a grain of salt, because he couldn't. Nobody could. In saying that, that is the exact moment that the game started to snowball out of control, because the team comp that we saw coming out of Dark Passage was snowball reliant. If the Lee Sin didn't get going, he does nothing until about 45 minutes. If the Fizz doesn't get going, he's slow, waiting for those item spikes before he can become relevant. Same with Ahri. They all played a part in that, and they all started to snowball from that one moment.
Yeah, and I absolutely love the Ahri denial as well. They picked it in their second round of picks on the blue side here, Rusty, and look, Ahri seems to be a huge linchpin for Oceania versus Turkey, and it was the same in the IWCI with Besiktas. Of course, energy there in the mid lane really making that one work when this is Swiffer's signature champion in the mid lane, and he was unable to play it. And I know Spawn spoke about the fact that, you know, still confident in the victor is Swiffer. He's more than happy to play it, but just did not look as good as that Ahri. And admittedly, with a pretty fed Fizz on your lineup, you're going to be feeling okay.
Look, pretty hard to look good as the victor into the Ahri matchup when your whole team is winning. But in saying that, you're right. When he's not on that Ahri, when he's stuck to a control mage style of champion like the Victor, it just doesn't feel like Swift has unlocked to be his true self, essentially.
Yeah.
He's stuck on cleanup duty. He doesn't get there in time. The assassins rotate faster than him. And it just works better for the teams when he's not an assassin.
Yeah, well, we do have another replay here. We are going to put it on your screen right now. And this is the Chiefs doing their very best to try and get their way back into the game. But already 6,000 gold at 18 minutes. It's a huge lead.
So I think one of the most important things to point out here is the items that have been completed. So Ahri in particular has the Luden's Echo, has the flash available, and this is where it all begins. So we'll roll this one through. Nari uses the flash, connects immediately onto Swiffer. He gets decimated beyond belief. They continue the dive with Elwind, and this is why the Luden's Echo is important to note, because they make their way back in after Raider does style, takes the Dark Passage to safety. Watch the Luden's Echo here actually picking up Ejim from a charm. Yeah. The fact that they had the extra items, they had the money and the kills to get those items. Of course, the Trinity Force Cutlass was done for the Fizz. Everyone was so far ahead that it lets you dive people as much as you would like, honestly, and get away with it.
Yeah, and I like how you use the irony of taking the Dark Passage to safety there, Rusty.
Yeah.
That was beautifully incorporated in that little speech. And man, Dark Passage lineup looking so strong in this game, and it's a real shame the fact that they haven't really managed to find this form until this particular point. But the Chiefs, if they do have to face off against this Dark Passage squad tomorrow, they are going to feel really shaken up, because as far as momentum goes, this is the Chiefs' final game for tonight. They did finish 4-2, which is a fantastic scoreline, but heading into tomorrow, it's a worry.
And that's why it's very scary the hype train's not exactly online at the moment, because after a game like that, after losing that convincingly, most importantly, to then go potentially into a best-of-5 against that exact team, they're going to be feeling really good. Chiefs, not so much. It does raise that big cause for concern as to how they will go tomorrow. In saying that, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to be the ones playing just yet.
Yeah, well, that's the point, is the fact that the Bangkok Titans now have to face off against Detonation Focus Me for our final game of the night. But we still have one more replay to go through, ladies and gentlemen. This is far more towards the end of the game. And that is a gigantic gold lead. I mean, the calculation in my head is starting to like burn out because it's getting a bit more difficult. But that's 17,000 gold.
Yeah. Whew. So this is, again, you look at this game and you feel bad for Raider a little bit inside, because he tried so hard. He really wanted to win this game, but he just could not do it. The rest of the team was not far enough ahead to deal with it. We'll roll this one out. Dark Passage, ridiculous amounts of ahead. They engage onto Zeitnot. They try and get him down, but meanwhile in the back line, trying his absolute hardest to make something happen for his team. Does so well. But there are so many threats on this Dark Passage side. They're running a 4-threat comp, essentially. The damage-based build from Crystal as well in that Lee Sin. They were just so far ahead that try as Raider might, they didn't look like slowing down at all. In Dark Passage, they just destroyed their way through that.
Yeah, really confident closing out of that game. There are a couple of picks, a couple of sort of shenanigans there around the stage for the Chiefs, but it was just Dark Passage, knowing that they're so far ahead, they don't need to worry about that at all. And huge shout out to Rydell as well on that Alistair, really making things happen underneath that turret. That was a 3-man pulverize into so much damage with the Orb of Deception. And shout out as well to Naru's build. Picked up that snowballed Luden's Echo, and that item does so much damage if you pick it up early.
Yeah, it even found him kills, of course, giving Ahri that extra wave clear when you are ahead to clear back waves with just the Q. You don't need to use a second one. That does wonders for your wave clearing ability to roam around the map and have a presence somewhere other than just mid. It's a very smart adaptation against the Victor also, who upgrades his wave clear first and can then disappear himself. So being able to be on top of his game, on top of where Swiffer is, played very smart, Naru. And this was an individual effort, though, from every single member, just getting ahead and capitalizing on one mistake. So one thing you will note, though, is when Dark Passage get ahead, they don't just snowball their way through a victory. They dive and they just kill everything in their way.
Well, they're looking terrifying, but we are going to move on to our final match of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Detonation Focus Me are going to be taking on the Bangkok Titans. And look, if there's anything to note here, it's the fact that Dark Passage are going to give us pretty ridiculous final tomorrow if they get through. But that's all on the back of this Japanese squad who have lost all hope of finding their way through. And we want to highlight the jungle in this one. 007X versus Asterore. And man, he's played a lot of Gragas, has the old Asterore. He loves that champion. And the Rek'Sai as well. We've seen a heck of a lot of this lady in the jungle. She's been playing out quite nicely. Not quite with the win rate, though, of this particular champ.
No, definitely not. And he basically only plays Gragas as well, so keep that in mind. It's a very important pick in this game. Will they be able to get it away onto 007X, or will Asterore actually take charge, get the champion that he's looking for? But based off performance, and this is why we're highlighting Asterore, is Udapon has an 89 something ridiculous % kill participation. He's involved with everything, but the reason that he is involved with all of these kills is because Asterore in that jungle has been playing exceptionally smart to allow these things to happen. And the way that he's been putting it into effect, as an example, standing still against the Rek'Sai, knowing where she's going to be, and counter-ganking to perfection. But to contrast that, 007, very invade heavy, will be in your face and will know where you are.
Yeah, and we saw this matchup as well. I mean, the game from the Bangkok Titans, pretty ridiculous stuff, especially the one that we saw earlier there with the Zed, with a lot of early game pressure. A lot of mix-ups happening on the Japanese squad, and I'm interested to see how it's going to match up this time around as far as mixing things around. Like the gangplank in the mid lane. Seros doing really weird stuff with Zillion. I mean, I want to go back to a game that I experienced with you today. Zillion, pretty good champion there in the mid lane if you manage to make it towards a late game that's a powerful thing. So look, we'll see how it happens, but we are going to go into a replay here and just demonstrate some of this jungle facilitation of Asterore versus 007X. Let's take it away, Rusty.
Yeah, need I even say anymore? He's against the Rek'Sai. We'll roll this one through and just watch the way that Asterore plays this. Just drinks. He knows exactly where 007X is going to be ahead of time, and just goes into his face. It's brilliant to see someone stand still because it knows their awareness of where to be on the map, where the enemy is going to be, most importantly, on the map, and when. To be there on time, to be proactive in your decision-making, and to counter it perfectly. It's the sign of an expert jungler.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about this is the fact that it illustrates why Udapon was so massive that game. To get level 3 double buffs on a Ryze is ludicrous. He did fantastically well, flashing forward, grabbing the Rune Prison, understanding his damage output in order to get everything through. But it's all about Asterore setting it all up. And we have another replay to take you through to really illustrate this and how it works out. Because Udapon, he's getting ganked. Is that really what's happening, Rusty?
So you may not be able to see this perfectly, but in this little cluster of icons, there is also a Gragas waiting silently, just stalking his prey, which is 007 in this game. So we'll roll this one through. Notice 007's trying to be the one to put the gank on, flashes in to knock them up, but there's already a Gragas waiting. Udapon was already 1-0 at the time. He's been doing very well, had his mana items, and there's just no way to predict this as 007. He's looking to be proactive. He's looking to make plays, invade gank heavy, almost to a fault. And Asterore has picked up on that fact, has exploited that fact, and has got his top laner fed. I mean, Udapon has a 9.7 KDA before today. That is because Asterore has given him those kills on a silver platter.
Yeah, and this is how Detonation Focus Me have managed to make plays in this game and managed to pick up victories. It's huge leads that they've developed for one champion that they can snowball very, very effectively. Against the Chiefs, it was the Kalista in the bottom lane, Rakinia doing massive things on that champion, then Udapon against the Bangkok Titans, picking up this Ryze, 3-0 as well, able to carry that victory through. Of course, we saw them against Dark Passage today. They looked strong. Weren't able to close out the game because they didn't understand killing the Nexus is how you win, but I believe they would have worked that one out moving into this next game, and we'll see whether they can capitalize on this new information that they have.
Well, yeah, they watched some games in between. Surely they're aware now that the Nexus is how you win the game. They'll take that one. And thanks for the Korean advice there, Max. In saying that, they do have some refinements to actually consider coming into this next game. Some ways to close it out for themselves. But I love that they're almost messing with the fate of this entire tournament based off one game alone. If they win, they don't even make the finals because they lose in the head-to-head. But if they lose, then someone else goes through. It's really crazy to consider. It's all in the balance from the Japanese side.
Yeah, it's all in their hands here. And, of course, they're going to be thirsty for a victory because this squad does not get a lot of international opportunities, and they're going to go completely ham. But we have to throw it into our casters to take us into our final game of the night.
Thank you very much. And we do, in fact, have one more game here. There are no tiebreakers, so I'm sorry for you and Atlas. You're not going to get your dream tiebreaks there for Oscar. But I'm joined by Dominic Satoroma and Ryan Frosker and more. It's been a great tournament so far.